Well, in this week's WeatherWise segment, I wanted to go over air masses and how they impact our weather. First off, we start with their names describing where they come from. So if we're talking about a polar air mass, it means that the air moves from 60 degrees latitude north towards the poles or south. So obviously around the poles, it's cooler air. Tropical is within 25 degrees of the equator and is usually warm. Continental is over the land and is dry, and marine is over the ocean and is moist. Now we can put them together in different fashions, so we're talking about potentially some continental polar air. Now that is cold, dry, and stable air, and it can usually be associated with some bitter cold caused by long nights and clear skies. Now continental tropical is hot and dry air that is stable aloft but unstable at the ground, and this is usually where we get those hot and dry summer days from. Maritime Polar is another cool, moist, but unstable air mass that is prominent in the Pacific Northwest and usually brings in some rain showers. And Maritime Tropical is warm, moist, and unstable, bringing in moisture for mainly our southern states. And of course, rounding it out, Continental Polar moves in from Canada, usually brings in some chilly conditions, especially if it dips down into the southeast, potentially causing some damage to those citrus crops with some frost. Now, Maritime Polar, remember that moves in the northwest, brings in some cool but moist air and allows for rain on the western side of the mountains. Now, Continental Tropical usually forms in the Mexican plateau, so it's hot and dry, and it moves across the southern Gulf states. If it remains stagnant, we could actually see some drought in those areas. And then rounding us out, Maritime Tropical air usually brings in some warm, moist air to our southern states. For the southwest, it moves in from the eastern Pacific, and for the southeast United States, it moves in from the Gulf of Mexico. Now, this is a lot of all that moisture comes from when we have those larger winter storms.